Welcome back to Dylan with Sid Meier's Colonization, where we continue the colonization of the Americas as the French. Nothing else, I don't think. So we'll go to trade, set that up. Iron hold, land route, iron hold procs, food. Let's see if I can edit the name of that trade route. Nope, cannot. I'm gonna go through and fix these so that they're just talking about which city to city it is. I do want to mention that there is a issue where if you boycott a good and then you try to set up a automated trade route, the boycotted good will never be unloaded at any colony. Like, you can't unload it in Europe, obviously, because there's a boycott on it, but there's actually a bug in the game to where you can't. We actually need to load cotton here too, right? Cotton. But that'll never happen because these two goods will be moved. See, this is the thing I'm talking about. It's too fine. It's too fine. I can't do it. I can't do the automated thing. I gotta just do it myself. If you try to unload a boycotted good in a colony, it won't work. The game bugs out and it thinks like, oh, I can't unload it because it's boycotted. Even though it's your own colony, it's not Europe. So aggravating apparently, but I'm autistic. Let's just do it manually. Y'all, of course, don't need to see that. English Dragoon finally moved, so we can set up Lumberton on the next turn using the Lumberjack. Very nice indeed. Now this Pioneer, I'm going to try to set up better ore production and gunning. I think that is my primary objective. But the damn native is standing on the river tile right here. I want to get this roaded so that I can build more ore, and this roaded so I can build more ore, while the Dragoons ideally aren't standing on it. The English are just being such a pain in my ass, and there's not much I can do about it. I could try to go to war with them, but they have a crap ton of military. All of the, well, there's only two other colonies. Both Dutch and England have a lot of Dragoons. People believe that they get a lot of free Dragoons in Viceroy, the hardest difficulty level. I'm not surprised. Alright, we got ourselves a proper fur trapper set up. We'll get him to start working instead of training people on just producing more furs. Why not? Although there's not many furs that can be produced from here. Let's see how many furs can be made in Proxima, perhaps. Only 4. We'll just keep him up in the wetland forest temporarily. But we do now have a proper tobacconist. So we can pull the regular colonist out of the tobacconist shop, put him as a regular colonist, bring in the master tobacconist. I think it might be a good idea here to pull this farmer out as a regular colonist, put in a free colonist into the town hall because we really need more Liberty Bell production. Once we've got another elder statesman here, I might switch that elder statesman to the university, and then pull in another free colonist to get trained as well. This free colonist is going to get trained as a pioneer, although yeah, it'll be a little while longer before we have the university done. We need to fill out another row, and then we can start training elder statesmen in Ironhold as well. Gonna load up some coats and some cloth to send on back home to Europe. We also need some tools here to finish the dry dock, which is gonna be done on the next turn. I don't have anybody with access to tools at the moment. Alright, let's set up Lumberton. Very nice. This is going to be a very useful extra supply of lumber from the timber resource, a very efficient use of a lumberjack. This free colonist is going to head over to become a pioneer. Or is he? I could train him as, say, a blacksmith. Let's train him as a blacksmith, why not? Let's do that. University will be done here pretty soon. And we got more colonists coming from Europe on the caravel right here anyway. I'm going to move the free colonists that just arrived from Europe over to Ironhold as well. The university will be done probably in the next turn, so we can start his education as a proper elder statesman. We actually won't have enough tools on hand to finish the university, it's okay. So the English are here, possibly to try to shake us down. They're upset about the privateers. I don't care what privateers. You can't attack me, man. And I'll ask them to withdraw, but they won't do it, because they protect valid English interests, supposedly. Whatever. There's an English privateer right there, looks like. We should be getting John Paul Jones and a free frigate pretty soon. In fact, there he is. Wonderful. Got ourselves another colonist trained up. We're going to have him be a regular, pioneer, kind of the pioneer trained. We're not going to have him do anything yet. We're going to pull these pioneers out. I think we'll be okay as is. I'm going to put this free colonist into the blacksmith shop. And these pioneers will eventually start working the land. We need to slow down a little bit on building production and try to increase ore production and tool production. So Adam Smith can build tier 3 buildings. Not bad, not bad. They're quite efficient. They produce 100 They produce 50% more goods per input good, so they're quite good to make. Henry Hudson is the fur trapper guy, I don't care about him. George Washington is quite useful. Every non-veteran soldier or dragoon who wins a battle automatically upgraded to a veteran, very good. We want him eventually. Simon Bolivar is who we're going to go for though, I think. Bartolome de las Casas is something to do with Indian converts becoming free colonists. We don't have any converts, so we don't need him. Washington we want eventually, Adam Smith we want eventually, but we want first Simon Bolivar. And we got the dry dock in Proxima built. Here, I want to work on, I think, a wagon train next. I'm going to need those to be able to move goods around pretty effectively. Building a shipyard allows us to build ships. We don't want to do that probably ever. Maybe in a little while. We'll see. I changed my mind just in reaction to the situation. So Simon Bolivar gives you 20% flat bonus to all of your colonies. So we're setting at like 65%, we'd go up to 85% automatically. It is a very nice increase. Awesome, we were able to move the Pioneer onto the mountain while the Dragoon was not present, so we can start building a road. That's a very nice thing to have happen. And we can get this farmer to start doing his thing on the conifer forest. Not very useful, but it's something. It'll be a little while longer before we have the university made. And I don't want to equip the Pioneers until we have the university built. Hey, we got our first homebrew statesman. I'm very happy about that. I think I actually made it to like 1630. I just didn't save it because I realized that I hadn't actually saved the game. Because I realized I didn't actually properly record and I was like, fuck. So we got our first elder statesman properly trained. We'll probably keep him there just because we need only more Liberty Bells to offset the revolutionary support that we're lacking. Alternatively, we could pull a free colonist and start training more elder statesmen. So let's pull out a farmer. We might actually pull the weaver depending on... I'll do everything else first. Hold on, I need to move goods. First, I gotta move goods around, see how that's going. Yeah, we're lacking enough cloth. We're lacking enough cotton to make weaving worth it at the moment, so I'll pull out the weaver. I'll move the elder statesman over to the university, like so. Bring in the free colonists into the town hall. And actually, I haven't... Let's actually make the weaver do some rum distillery in the meantime, why not? We've got 7 sugar on hand that we can process into rum. And rum sells for quite a bit at the moment. We can also sell it to the Indians, why not? We got a full load of coats and cloth to unload. We'll do that, make a boatload of money. What would we like to get? Could pick out the master fur traders to produce even more coats, but coats are very inexpensive at the moment. Getting more free colonists to train up elder statesmen, blacksmiths, and ore miners would be good, as well as carpenters. So let's just do that. I did get a merchantman earlier. I might save up for another merchantman, but I don't think I'm too worried about that. Let's just recruit some free colonists. So 520 gold for the next one, I'll take that, and then we'll head on out. I want to make sure that we can't be shut down for any cold, I think. And we got the university built in Ironhold, wonderful. So the elder statesman is going to go to the university, start training up the free colonists to become a proper statesman. And then after that, what do we want to do? I'm thinking we need a wagon train. We'll do that next. We got another wagon train in Proxima, wonderful. We can start using that to ship the food from Farmville down to Proxima. And the king added some people to his army, but I don't really care about that. The king doesn't add that many people to the army, he just starts with a crap ton of soldiers. At the highest difficulty level at least. And our frigate has arrived, very wonderful. Gonna send him northeast. There was a privateer that I spotted up there. But I did have an issue where I can't seem to attack the privateers because they're English, usually. Apparently when you make a peace treaty in this game, you can't attack their privateers, and yet their privateers can attack you, which is kind of unusual in my opinion. These pioneers aren't doing anything at the moment, so what I can have them do is just do a little bit of... Oh, they produce almost no fish. Ugh. Let's just not. I wanted to try to squeeze a little bit more value out of them, but it's just not gonna happen. And we've got enough revolutionary support in Proxima that we can get this farmer back to work farming. So we'll do that. This frigate's still casually hanging out in the single ocean square that leads to Gunning, very nice. And that is indeed an English privateer that's slipping past our frigate. He's actually attacking us, holy crap. So we can't attack him for some reason because he's English and we have a peace treaty, but he can attack us. So he has a 12 strength versus our 16 strength. We should win on average, but we'll see. Hey, we damaged him. Forced him to go back to London. I'm not sure why the English thought they could take that fight. We'll sell some cigars and some cloth, dump the price a little bit further down. They were going to lose most likely, but they took the fight anyway. AI being AI, what can I say? We've got 2,118 gold. Let's kind of think about what we'd like to do with that. I need to take a look at my colonies and decide what I'm going to do. But we did get that newspaper in Gunny, which is awesome. I'm very happy to get doubled Liberty Bell production. That is always nice. After that, I'm pretty sure that we want to go with a warehouse, so we'll do that next. There might be an argument for getting a merchantman. I think at the moment what we want is just more people straight up. So let's start just recruiting some free colonists. The next one is 560 gold. I'll just take that right now. And then I'll send the caravel off. That leaves us with 1,079 gold. At some point in time, I'm going to have to get some veteran soldiers, probably when we take out the Iroquois. That's when we'll get some veterans. So I don't need to buy veterans. I don't need firebrand preachers or Jesuit missionaries. And I don't need master distillers. I did find an island when I played through the recorded footage that I lost that had sugar production. But I don't want to split my colonies up at the moment, because that does make us more susceptible to privateers. And we only have one frigate to defend our shipping lanes, and pretty much everything else I can train. So we're just going to start recruiting people like crazy. If we get enough gold on hand, we'll get a merchantman, but that will probably take a while. And the frigate is going to continue to just sit here and let people come at it. I'm very happy to let that happen. We do have a tri-dock at Proxima, so we can repair back at home instead of having to repair in Europe and then come home. So I'm not too worried about it. I would definitely like to get some docks rolling next up in Lumberton and Farmville. We won't be able to make any progress on them for quite some time though, but that's okay. What we will do is we'll equip some pioneers with some tools on the next turn to send them out to start preparing the colony squares for future occupants. But at the moment, these pioneers don't have anything else to do. They could go fishing, but they don't produce very much fish at all, only a positive 1 food. I could set them to doing Liberty Bells. I guess I can go ahead and do that, it's fine. Our privateer is repaired in France once more, so we'll be able to bring him back home to threaten some more English, since the English are intent on threatening me. And we've got a Stamp Act. They're raising the tax rate by 7%. It could hold an iron hold tools party, which would throw out the roughly 40 tools that I have, and that would prevent me from shipping tools using the automated trade system, but I don't use the automated trade system. But that would save me quite a bit of gold, since I do intend to continue trading with Europe for quite some time, since the natives simply refuse to give me any real prices that are worth trading for. That does slow down the development of our colony slightly, but I think it's better to just throw these out. So there goes 30 tons of tools into the sea. We can't buy any more tools, but we had no intention of buying or selling tools in Europe anyway, so it doesn't matter. 30 tools is a small price to pay for not having a 7% price increase, that is for sure. With the privateer, we can bring back some more free colonists. We don't need more master weavers or fur traders, we'll just grab some free colonists. We don't have enough gold to grab another immigrant at the moment. We're now up to 600 gold without crosses to reduce that price. So let's head on back. And our blacksmith is now a proper blacksmith, very nice indeed. With that done, I think we need to move this blacksmith north up to Gunny if possible. But we're going to need even more food production in order to sustain anybody up here. We only have a surplus of 1 food. Even if I move the blacksmith up here, we simply can't make use of his profession because we don't have enough ore production, which is unfortunate. That's part of why I'm getting the extra colonists, is that I'm trying to develop some colonies over here, right on this tile, which I'll have access to this ore deposit on these hills, as well as these hills, and then I can found a colony right here that'll have access to the hills right there. We won't build stockades in these colonies, these will just be like ore mining colonies for the most part, and we'll ship those ores back to Gunny and Ironhold for conversion into tools and muskets. I'm going to build an armory over here in Ironhold, and I think we have enough wagon trains for the moment. We need to protect our caravels using our frigates. I really wish I had another frigate. We might consider building a shipyard and building a frigate. They're very useful for actually defending our shipping lanes. These 2 fresh free colonists that just arrived from Europe, we're going to send them over to Ironhold to receive training as ore miners. And then one of them we're going to send towards Gunny, maybe. And then another one we're going to send to that location to build a colony, and this location to build a colony. It's a decent chance that we might be better off getting a caravel at that point to help connect us through the ocean, since getting past all these damn dragoons is going to be a pain in my ass. We're going to have to actually set up Probably gonna have to leave these guys as like food producers, since we might not be able to afford to have them around in the colony. Let's see. No, we can get away with it. That's because we have horses that were eating some of our food. So we can still have them do ore mining to give some ore for tools. That is going to slow down our ore production for a couple turns while we train them up. But in the long term, it's going to help us out. With our ore production so low, it's going to be better to have a blacksmith doing, say, tobacconist, at least for a little while. That'll directly convert our tobacco into cigars, because we do have a reserve of tobacco at Proxima that we've been working through slowly with our tobacconist here. So we don't need to ship more tobacco in quite yet. But this extra blacksmith is definitely going to head towards the north, towards Gunny. Unfortunately, Gunny is going to need significantly more Liberty Bells as well as food production in order to sustain a colony here. In order to sustain a larger colony. We could ship food in, but I do prefer to have food available on site if possible. Building a road on the mountain here to improve our production. Thankfully, the Dragoons seem to be concerned mostly with the colonies that are closest to the English colonies. So they're hanging out around like Farmville and around Safe Harbor. I suspect that if I build a colony, say right here, these Dragoons and the soldier will actually move north and just surround that colony. Which means I might even be able to build another colony closer, like say right there. And then they'll just hang out around that colony and maybe leave me alone. That would be nice. Got that armory and iron hold, so we can start working on artillery if we want. After that, it's a good question as to what I would like to build next. I do believe a warehouse expansion might not be a terrible idea, because building a fort is going to take quite a while and cost a lot of tools, and we don't need a fort yet. We will need a fort and then a fortress after that, but not yet. And a warehouse expansion only costs 20 tools. Let's go with a warehouse expansion. You probably want to build a warehouse expansion definitely in Proxima as well. I believe that would be a very good idea. Ah yes, so I need to switch actually over to a warehouse expansion, or a shipyard potentially. To produce ships, all you need is to make hammers and tools. But I think we need a warehouse expansion first. That allows us to store more horses, so that we can equip more dragoons, as well as more muskets here. Let's build that expansion. It won't cost us very many tools. We'll actually get it done potentially on the next turn. We'll have to move some tools over to Proxima. We're going to be hurting for tool production with the ore miners training their replacements. We received some more free colonists from Europe. We're pushing the education system to the limit in Ironhold, which means that we need to consider educating them in Proxima, which can support more people. Alternatively, we could send them to Safe Harbor for education as, say, fishermen or expert farmers. We could also send one to Gunny to educate him as an ore miner as well. I think that's more important. Let's send one of them over to Gunny, and we'll keep one of them on site to be trained as, I'm thinking, a tobacconist. So we'll put him into the tobacco shop, pull out the master tobacconist into the university. Although, double checking my immigration pool, yeah, I don't have a tobacconist. I have a fur trader and a weaver coming up. So training up another tobacconist makes sense, because we don't have easy access to one. Gunny does definitely need either more farmers or food imports in order to keep it running. If I bring the colonist in here to be trained as an ore miner, we can't actually fit him and the blacksmith, and the blacksmith can't do his job properly anyway. So what I'm going to do is assign the blacksmith to the town hall, and we won't be able to produce any horses. We're net 0 on food, so we can sustain this. Hopefully we'll get enough Liberty Bells such that we can support more people, and I may just have to ship food into Gunny, which is fine. Especially because Farmville is up here with a ton of food ready to go. But it's a little hard to reach it at the moment, especially with all the dragoons hanging out. But we can make it. It just takes some time, especially once we get the road network built. That might be our next road that we do. We have one more set of tools to use. We can build a road right here to connect Gunny to Farmville. That's not the best connection. I'd rather have a road here on this river tile connected to this river tile so that I could circumvent Gunny to get to Farmville. We don't actually produce enough cloth at the moment to sustain this weaver all the time. So I'm going to have him build some crosses instead. Actually, let's have him finish up converting the remains of the sugar that we have into rum. At some point in time, we'll sell it to the natives most likely. And yeah, probably the next turn actually. We have some available wagon trains. We got the privateer back from Europe that dropped off a free colonist. I am going to arm one of those colonists as a dragoon while the privateer is in port. I read that a colony can be attacked if it has a privateer in it. So this dragoon could theoretically attack Proxima. I don't want that to happen. The weaver is now going to probably switch over to probably weaving again. I think I'll have a cotton shipment here pretty soon. No, I won't. In that case, it would be best to simply assign them to crosses. So our free colonist has arrived. We're going to pull the ore miner out, put him in the schoolhouse. We can only sustain one teacher in a schoolhouse. And then we're going to put the free colonist mining ore. That does reduce our food income such that we're going to starve in not too long. But we have 2 turns of food, and I'll just get some food from Farmville, hopefully, unless I get blocked. I won't actually be able to get food from Farmville fast enough. In that case, I'll simply bring food from Ironhold to fill the stocks of Gunny. And then we can bring a shipment of food from Proxima 40 food up to Gunny, and that will sustain Gunny for quite some time so that we don't need to send farmers in. We can't sustain farmers in terms of revolutionary support anyway. This additional free colonist, I'm going to train him up as a fisherman over at Safe Harbor. So fisherman goes in the college, free colonist goes in the water. Because of our lack of ore production, it's actually going to be smarter to put the blacksmith into the town hall to produce Liberty Bells, and then we'll come back later and convert the ore into tools. The gunsmith, I'm going to take all gun production, put him in the lumber mill to produce a little more hammers as well. The same principle basically applies in Ironhold. The blacksmith can convert more ore than we have available from our free colonists doing ore mining, so I think I'll just put him on carpentry for 1 turn to provide some extra hammers. French settlers in Proxima have committed intolerable acts of destruction against the Iroquois. They request 50 muskets. Oh, okay. So we're going to war sooner than I expected. Unfortunate, but something that we can manage, actually. We've got a dragoon stationed in Proxima. I could hand the muskets over just to keep them off our backs, but handing the muskets over strengthens the Iroquois and makes it more difficult to take them out later on. No, absolutely not. There we're at blue alarm. Interesting. So we got the warehouse expansion in Proxima done. Very nice. Oh, now they're in red hostility because I refused to get them muskets. Okay. We may have to alter our education a little bit and take up arms. Everything else costs tools at the moment, and our tool production is garbage because we're training up the ore miners. So I'm going to switch to no production, at least temporarily. I'll have the carpenters roll some cigars in the meantime. Let's try to get the Iroquois to settle down. We'll get them some rum. Let me double check if they want rum in this particular village right here. They do indeed badly want rum. They also want tools and cigars. Let's give them some cigars as well as a gift. I do intend to destroy them, unfortunately. We'll trade the rum. Let the rum be our gift to you. Cigars are of some value. We can't trade the cigars immediately. Unfortunately, it looks like their alarm didn't drop very much. So we'll have to keep the dragoon stationed, and the dragoon is now going to become part of our standing army. It's possible that raising the dragoon alerted the Iroquois, and unfortunately, when we fight the revolution, they're going to attack us no matter what, because they don't seem to understand that we're defending ourselves from the king. So we have no choice but to destroy them, unfortunately. So this pioneer, I'm going to try to get this road network built between Gunny and Farmville before it's too late and we start getting attacked by the Iroquois. The next couple of sets of free colonists that we get are going to be exclusively standing army. We may have to actually abandon Farmville and Lumberton and focus on taking down the Iroquois natives in the area and securing our hold, especially because this one is actually hostile. If they attack Lumberton, the colonists will just die. Because of that, we're going to pull them out. It's not safe at the moment. In which case, that means I'm not going to work on getting the road network built quite yet between Farmville and Gunny. The gunsmith needs to get off the lumber mill, get back to fashioning weapons. Same thing with this blacksmith. I need him fashioning tools, as many as we can get. The Iroquois are threatening us. I would have preferred to live in peace and harmony, but they have chosen war, just because their programming says so. I'm also going to switch the master blacksmith from tobacco to blacksmithing to create as many tools as we can get our hands on. Our privateer, we sent him east from Proxima. He's going to hang out over here and watch the shipping lanes, watch for any English victims. Yep, there's the Iroquois surprise raid, supposedly. Iroquois chief denies involvement. And our first raid, here we go. They have 50% attack bonus versus our plus 100% defense bonus. That makes us strength 6. That makes them strength 1.5. We should win, and if we lose, we only lose our horses. We have plenty of horses where that came from. And they died. Wonderful. They should have failed to retrieve any goods from us as well. We've got 200 units of coats to offload. We're gonna pick up a bunch of free colonists so we can get our hands on them. We have 1,586 gold. Let's do some recruitment. Free colonists. And, ooh, 620 gold. No thanks. I will instead train an expert ore miner, clear his specialty, make him a soldier. We don't have enough gold for anything else, so we're gonna head back. We have a proper ore miner in Ironhold. Very wonderful, very wonderful. Both of them actually very good. And warehouse expansion, awesome. So now I think our choice here is going to be probably to temporarily arm one of these ore miners with some muskets and some horses. The other ore miner we're going to pull out simply because there's not much else I need him to do. He could fish, but he couldn't produce much food here. We're going to send him ideally north to Gunny. We got 2 statesmen trained up in Proxima, wonderful. So I need to swap out the free colonist, move you over to the town hall, and then move you where to? We need that tobacconist to do his job at the tobacco shop, actually. And the carpenters can go back to the lumber mill. What else would we like to produce here? I think working towards some artillery is going to be the name of the game. Let's do that. So we'll move the carpenters. This free colonist was getting trained by... Oh, that's a weaver, actually. It's a weaver. That makes sense. Okay, gotcha. So move him over there. We've got another cloth on hand that it justifies having the weavers work in the weaver shop for 1 turn to convert the cloth, to convert the cotton that we have, 28, into cloth, because it's exactly 28. This free colonist, however, we want to put him over in the tobacco shop. We're producing plenty of bells now that we have 2 elder statesmen in place. And then I need to move these elder statesmen somewhere else, potentially. We can't have them educating at the moment simply because we don't have the free colonists to educate. We need dragoons to fight. Because of that, I'd like to move them over to Safe Harbor. They need more revolutionary support, that is for sure. So I'm going to pull them out and move them on the next turn. So now that we've got the warehouse expansion done in Ironhold, we're going to start working on artillery. Unfortunately, we have a shortage of lumber here simply because we don't have easy access to lumber anymore. Most of the lumber comes from Safe Harbor, Proxima. We're going to have to ship lumber from Proxima over to Ironhold. And this blacksmith is going to have to go back to doing cigar rolling instead. Mr. Privateer is taking a look north. Let's see if we find any victims. I don't think so. We need to back off so that we don't get attacked by the English, ideally. We always want that attack bonus of 50%. In Gunny, I'm going to have a blacksmith temporarily take up arms as a dragoon. We could get attacked by that village right there. I might not see it coming. Safe Harbor kind of needs a similar thing going on. I think what we can do is we can pull a armor out and arm him with some muskets and horses. Now, each of our 4 colonies has at least 1 dragoon stationed. With the stockade, we should be able to beat down any kind of raid. Once we get some more free colonists rolling in, we'll cycle them back into the colonies and then get everybody building up some more military, and then at that point we'll buckle down and then destroy the Iroquois villages that are around our colonies and purge the surrounding land of natives and ensure that they only can come from the north. I'm going to try to get the lumberjack over to Ironhold because we really need lumber production in Ironhold, so I don't have to keep shipping it from Safe Harbor and Proxima. The English are kind of blocking our roads now unintentionally, so that is messing with our logistics. You think it's random how they move. Gunny does need more food though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the pioneer outside, put him at a little bit of risk, but he should hopefully be able to convert the forest into a field pretty rapidly. So we should hopefully be okay. It's a bit risky though. This particular village is not hostile to us. Hey, this one actually chilled out. I don't think it matters. We need to take them out. They're too risky. Letting them live is far too risky. We got a bunch of goods to offload. Hopefully we can get ourselves some more free colonists to arm. Recruitment right now is 571. I'll take that for a free colonist. We have 1,493 gold. And then we'll train up some more expert ore miners. And these will begin forming the foundations of our army. Got ourselves a proper warehouse in Gunny. Very nice indeed. Oh, we're actually over 50% now, so we're making more food. So I don't need to keep food stationed in Gunny, but I'm going to keep some food on hand. Just because I'm concerned about Gunny's food situation a little bit. After the warehouse, what would we like to work on? Pretty much everything else requires tools. The church is almost useless at this point in time. It only provides us 2 crosses without putting colonists in it. The stable we don't need. We have plenty of horses, and we can make plenty more in Proxima. Everything else requires tools, so we're just going to go with working towards, I think, think we're gonna go with maybe a magazine. Long term, a magazine is a good choice. Shorter term, artillery helps us to wipe out the natives. Let's wipe out the natives. Let's work on artillery here as well. Thanks so much for watching Dealing With It. If you liked the video, leaving a like would help the video to reach other people that might also enjoy the video. If you'd like to see more, you can always subscribe, and I'll see you later in episode 10.